Hola, and welcome to another episode of One Line at a Time. I'm currently watching the Netflix series The Hidden Lives of Pets, which is really good, I recommend it. In the middle of the first episode about intelligence, they're training rats to drive these little cars. The narrator told us how using Fruit Loops as a reward, the rats were first trained to drive straight. Then they were trained to turn. Then the narrator said, soon there was simply no stopping them. And in Spanish, the subtitlers translated this as Pronto no hubo forma de detenerlas, which more literally means soon there was no form of detaining them. There's a lot going on in this sentence, but what we're going to focus on in this video is they translated there was as hubo. I probably would have translated there was as había without having thought about it too much. So why did they translate there was as hubo? And would había be wrong here? Before we get to that, if you're a beginner at this Spanish thing, you probably won't totally understand everything I'm about to say. And that's okay. Keep watching. Get as much as you can out of this. At the very least, this video will put the hubo versus había question on your radar. Real quick though, the words hubo, and había all come from the verb haber, which I consider to be the weirdest verb in all of Spanish. Haber is unlike any other verb out there. Without getting too deep into it, in the present tense, the word I means there is or there are. So there is one person in the kitchen would be hay una persona en la cocina. Then there are two people in the kitchen would be hay dos personas en la cocina. In the first sentence, there is translated as I. In the second sentence, there are is translated as I. I means there is or there are. Cool? Then in the past tense, hubo and había both mean there was or there were. Hubo is the preterite tense version of there was or there were, and había is the imperfect tense version of there was or there were. If you don't know about the preterite and imperfect tenses, check out the videos I made about them. A link to a playlist of all of them is below this video or in the description. Bottom line, when we want to say there was or there were in Spanish, we have to choose between hubo and había. There was one person in the kitchen can be hubo una persona en la cocina or había una persona en la cocina. And there were two people in the kitchen can be hubo dos personas en la cocina or había dos personas en la cocina. Hubo and había both mean there was or there were. And remember, in our example, they translated soon there was simply no stopping them as pronto no hubo forma de detenerlas. They went with hubo for there was. But I showed our example to several native Spanish speakers and all of them agreed. Because of the situation and the wording of the previous sentences, both hubo and había would totally work here. In this context, soon there was simply no stopping them could be translated as pronto no hubo forma de detenerlas or as pronto no había forma de detenerlas. Both these sentences send the same message and neither would sound weird or unnatural at all. The reason this is possible is we can look at the situation two different ways. If the speaker is thinking there was no stopping them at that very moment or during the duration of the experiment, hubo is the way to go, because that would be talking about a single completed event, and for single completed events, the preterite tense is usually used. But if the speaker is thinking there was no stopping them from that moment forward until whenever, había is the way to go, because that would be talking about an event that could still be occurring now, at the time of the event, or when the sentence was said. And for events that could still be occurring, the imperfect tense is usually used. Stuff like this used to drive me crazy. I'd see two sentences that seemed to be exactly the same in the same context, except one used hubo and the other used había. And I'd be like, why? That's why I chose this example. I wanted to remind you, in reality, actions don't happen in the preterite tense or the imperfect tense. They just happen. We use the preterite and imperfect tenses to frame those actions a certain way when we talk about the past. In this example, by using hubo, it's more like saying saying there was no stopping the rats at that moment or within the duration of the experiment. By using había, it would have been more like saying there was no stopping the rats from that point forward. In this situation though, those two ideas are so close to being the same, and we have no idea what the speaker was thinking. That's why hubo and había both work here. A lot of the time, whether hubo or había is used comes down to which tenses had been used previously, or the speaker's whim, or their taste, or their style. There's a level of randomness to this. I do have to say though, in my experience, había is way more common than hubo. That's the main reason I would have used había in this case. I default to había for there was or there were, because that's what I see and hear most of the time. One day soon, I'll make a full video about haber. For now though, that's all I got for you. If you like this video, do me a favor, hit the like button. That helps get my videos out to more people. And if you want to see more videos like this one, go to SpanishDude.com/lines. On that page, you'll see a full list of all the previous episodes of One Line at a Time. Until next time, my name is Jordan. Nos vemos, amigo.